What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So it's been a fairly crazy week in the market in terms of dips and volatility. So in today's video I want to cover three main topics, and those are firstly what I bought on Thursday and Friday and my reason behind it. We'll then have a look at my overall portfolio performance and see how each individual sector is doing as well. And finally we're going to have a look through next week's plan of action in terms of what I'm going to do. As I'm sure you're already aware, the markets have been going down a fair bit over the last week or two. And there's a few reasons for that really. First of all, it's got to do with bond yields. And second of all, it's got to do also with institutions such as Reddit, where they're pumping up such stocks as GameStop. So for example, if you can imagine, if you have money in, let's say, Coca-Cola, which is a very safe dividend paying company, a lot of people are taking money out of those safer style companies and putting them into these kind of hype pump and dump style stocks, which effectively are driving down the demand in stocks such as Coca-Cola, effectively dropping their share price as well. So that's probably two of the main reasons, the bonds yields, and also because of the rise of these pump and dump kind of stocks as well. But in my opinion, this is all kind of short term, and eventually everything will go back to normal. And as a long-term investor, you kind of want dips like this as well, as crazy as that sounds. For example, let's say you bought €100 worth of Coca-Cola today. If it goes down in value, all well and good as a long-term investor, because if you bought in at, let's say, €80 a share, then you'll be getting literally half the price. So your average price, if you bought one stock at 100, one stock at 80, your average price would be 90. So you're actually getting a cheaper overall price, effectively giving you a better dollar cost average. And once the markets go back to normal and go up even more in value, you're getting a better overall return. Even though the bond yields and companies such as GameStop are affecting the overall trend of the market, a lot of people as well are panic selling, which I really don't see the point of as a long-term investor. Again, as I mentioned, blue chip companies, especially if you're diversified across all different sectors, and if nothing actually changed fundamentally with the company, I'd only be buying a more stock if it goes down in value. So it's great as well as a long-term investor that you're kind of kept out of the emotional day-to-day trading of stocks, because it doesn't really affect you short-term really. If anything, you're only buying more on the dips. So definitely a lot of people are panic selling as well, effectively dropping the demand. So the supply is going up, so the overall stock price is going down. Last Thursday, I deposited further €500 into my Trading212 account. We now have a balance on screen here of about €7,343, which means we're 7.4% towards my overall goal of having €100,000 invested into the market. We can see on the left here that we're currently about €582 up, or 8.75%. Now, if you looked at some videos from maybe the week before last, we were up about 12.5%. So technically we're down about 4% overall, which isn't bad at all in my opinion. Especially, so if you think of such companies or such investors that only have, let's say, they're all focused in one sector and they're not all blue chip companies, they'd be affected a lot more than this. So because we have 30 stocks, all blue chip, all diversified across different sectors, we don't really go down as much as, let's say, people that are solely focused on one sector or another. So 4% or so isn't bad at all, in my opinion, especially with a lot of people's stock portfolios going down even 50 to 60%, which is insane. So when I actually put the €500 in earlier this week, we will look through next what I actually did with that money, but we still have about €100 free funds. So that meant I deposited or invested a further €400 on Thursday and Friday. So on Thursday, as I'm sure you're aware if you saw yesterday's video, what we actually deposited the €500, and on that stage we invested into 5 different companies. We put €50 into Tesla, P&G, Pfizer, PepsiCo, and iShares Global Clean Energy ETF. And the main purpose of investing this €250 was the dollar cost average. So we'll have a look through as well later on how each of these companies are actually performing now. After depositing or investing that €250, we then went ahead on Friday and invested a further €150. And we put that money into similar companies again to dollar cost average. So we had 20 into PepsiCo, 950 into Tesla, 20 into McDonald's, another further €20 into Tesla again, P&G €20, PepsiCo €20, Pfizer 20, and iShares Global Clean Energy ETF with another 1.6 shares at €20. So all in all, on Thursday and Friday, we invested a further €400, and we still have another 100 sitting on the sideline. As I already did a detailed video at the start or the middle of this week, I'm only going to go through very briefly how each sector is performing. We won't go into each company. You can see them on the right yourself if you want to pause the video to see how each is actually doing. But in terms of my pies, communication services is up 21%. We have €577 invested. Consumer discretionary, we have 3 companies. We are currently down 4.3%. And so we will be dollar cost averaging a lot more as well over the next few weeks if the markets continue to dip. So probably tomorrow or even Monday, I'll be investing more money or more cash reserves to kind of take advantage of any of these companies again. And it is worth noting that even if you do have cash reserves, it doesn't really mean that you always need to have all of your money invested. It's always good to have some cash on the side as well to take advantage of the best opportunities at any given time. So I think my own kind of style that I'm going to do next week as well is I'm actually going to, which I'll discuss later on in more detail, but I'm actually going to have a kind of cool off period as such. For example, just leave my stocks breathe for a day or two to see how they're actually doing maybe at the middle or the end of next week, and then kind of invest more accordingly then. So we'll talk about that later on, as I said. But for now, anyway, consumer discretionary is down 4.3%. Consumer staples is down 2.67%. Energy sector is up 17.78%. We then have my ETFs, which is up 12%. Financials is up 20 over 25. Healthcare, we have 3 companies on the right. We're up 6.6%. Industrials, we're up 5.8%. Nothing in materials. We only have the 1 company as always in real estate. Tech, we have 5. Currently still my biggest overall sector, and we have €1,272 invested and are up 12.2%. So in terms of next week, as I said, we still have about €100 in cash reserves, but I probably will be putting in at least another €250 next week just to have it ready to go in case any of my companies actually go down in value even more. So as I said just before this, that I am going to wait and kind of have a cool off period for the market to see how it actually goes in the next few days. At the moment, we invested €400, as I just said, this week. So maybe the middle of next week, I just want to see how the markets are actually performing, if they go down further in value. I do kind of feel like on Monday they could kind of start off the morning or half 2 in the day Irish time, that once the markets open, US markets that is, that I believe they might go up in value for a few minutes and then kind of have a bit of a V-shaped pattern on the day. So I'm going to wait until maybe Wednesday or Thursday. And I noticed as well on Friday evenings there's usually a sell-off as well, so that could be a good time to buy more stocks even in a normal period of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until about Wednesday or Thursday, have about 300 or 400 euro in total loaded up and ready to go, and kind of see what sectors or what companies within my overall portfolio are doing worst. Have a brief look to see if there's any fundamental changes, again, which I don't really think there will be. It'll just be because of the market conditions. And then invest into the companies that I firstly believe have the most potential to go back up in value, and second of all, the companies that are worst affected. Also, it's worth noting in times like this, especially because over the last few months, if you threw a dart at any stock, it was nearly going up in value. So it's very important in times like this to firstly be diversified across different sectors. So it's always very imperative in a long-term investing that you have stocks within all different sectors, because all sectors move differently at any given time. For example, let's say my consumer discretionary sector could be going up 10% in any given week, whereas if you look at, let's say, the material sector, it could be going the opposite way, down 10%. So you do kind of need a well-rounded, balanced portfolio if you're looking to be a long-term investor. And also, it's worth noting that you need to keep a cool head, especially in times like this, and you only lose money if you actually sell the stock. So again, it doesn't faze me one bit, because as a long-term investor, the markets have to move up as well as down, and it's not good for the market at all if it only just went up in value, because that's not sustainable and not realistic. So as you know, markets are cyclical, so you need to realize if you want to be a long-term investor that you're going to have some good days as well as bad in terms of the market. So in terms of the market now, it's going down in value, which again was inevitable at some stage because it was having a bull run for the last few months or so, even when the market conditions were saying that it should have happened a long time ago anyway. So you need to realize in times like this that if they're going down in value, the best thing to do is keep a level head, and if anything, take advantage of it just like last March and buy more of the stocks if you believe that their fundamentals are right and that they're well valued companies. Finally, this week's Trading212 hot list. A hot list or leaderboard that actually shows the top companies that users hold within Trading212. So we can see here the top 5 companies, the top 2 being electric vehicles in the form of Tesla. They have 190,000 users hold the stock. Then we have NIO, Apple and Amazon. So Amazon and Apple hold stocks 3 and 4. And on 5, which I'm quite surprised still to see, is HCMC, or Healthier Choices Management, with 91,000 users holding this stock. Then have the top risers over the last 7 days, with GameStop being no surprise over the last few days again, with their kind of saga coming back for around 2. So currently have 57,700 users hold this company. We then have CCIV, or Churchill Capital, in second place. We then have AIG in third and Palantir in fourth position. We then have the leaderboard that no one wants to be top of, the top fallers over the last 7 days. Vision Lithium is the top position here with 12.33% of the users selling the stock. We then have Galaxy Next Generation, Nokia, and in fourth position we have CBBT. There we have it, guys. I just want to give a brief update. Firstly, a very brief overview of how the market is performing. Then I wanted to discuss my overall portfolio, what companies I bought, and how each of my sectors are currently performing. And we also had a look at my overall portfolio value. We then had a very brief look at this week's Trading212 hot list and my plans for next week in terms of what I'm going to buy. So if you found this video anyway helpful or interesting, it'd be much appreciated, as always, if you're new around here, to consider subscribing to the channel. And also, if you would like the video as well, it would really help the channel out going forward. And most importantly, if you have any questions, comments, queries or suggestions, please don't hesitate to comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy your Saturday and I will see you all in tomorrow's video.